we know that sport and the world seems to go around in circles. Everything, a team goes really well for a period of time, and then they lose a couple of players, or the coach goes in a bad run, and then all of a sudden the other nations get stronger. But that just hasn't been the case with Ireland. Like, they've just stayed at this consistent level, and that's something that you've said about could say about England, like that they are inconsistent in more or less everything that they're doing. Um, Fair play to Steve Borthwick. Everybody talked about this English side, that they needed to get rid of some of the old faces and bring in new blood and completely revolutionise the way of playing, the players that he has. And to a certain extent, he's done that, regarding the players anyway. And it is going to take a bit of time. Like, Steve Borthwick has been in the game an awful long time. He's worked under Eddie Jones. He's worked for the Lions. I think it's second most cap player ever in the Gallagher Premiership. Like, he knows his stuff. He is a very good coach. I was reading an article last night, and there's hardly a player that has a bad word to say about him in terms of his coaching capacity. Now, the thing that separates, in my own opinion, him and Andy Farrell is how Andy Farrell has the relationship with the guys, in terms of, like, it comes across as if he's their mates, and he's able to keep them smiling, laughing, enjoying the culture and the environment. And yes, I'm sure he gets absolutely stuck into them behind closed doors, but out in the open, he has these guys absolutely humming. And the intricacies that Ireland play with, this blueprint that I keep talking about, it doesn't matter who's brought in. If there's a couple of changes this weekend, Donny, to the team, we think it's going to be a lot stronger again, with Hugo Keenan at fullback and possibly Gary Ringrose at 13. But Henshaw and Aki are obviously playing very, very well, and two really strong guys to have in the midfield. So we'll see how that goes. But this Ireland team, 12 points in the handicap, going away to Twickenham. The expectation levels are so low for England, that is why it sort of does give you a bit of a fright. Will there be complacency by Ireland? I don't believe there is. We talk about this every week. We talk about, Ireland, they could be complacent. They might not. It's Italy at home. They might, knock it off to a fast start. They pumped them by 36. Could have been 56. Again, Wales, they go after them physically. And I just don't think England have the front five to really cause Ireland troubles, like they have done 10 years ago when I was playing, 2012, when Alex Corbizero was absolutely dominating us in the scrum, and they were getting penalty after penalty. It was like we were on roller skates in the scrum. I just don't think that is going to happen this week. And then when you look at the players, like for like, it just feels that the Irish players are, first of all, a lot more confident, and secondly, they know the game plan that they're going to play to, and generally they're executing it very well. So let's see if Felix Jones and Steve Borthwick and the rest of the coaching staff have some sort of plan to negate what Ireland are going to throw at them. But it feels like Ireland can beat this handicap. It feels like Ireland can beat this handicap. It would be a real statement to go to Twickenham and put 20 points on this English side. Yeah, like we know that the set piece is so important, especially the line out for me, because Ireland launched so many plays off the line out, so many strike plays that get them into their multi-phase attack and actually get them in behind teams. We know when they get their shape off that second and third phase, they can get the width very, very easily. James Lowe gets himself into the game. Mac Hansen, when he plays, has, obviously not this Six Nations, but previously, and they're just they just get into the flow so well off line out. If England can get up and spoil that, it'll be interesting to see if Ireland maybe shorten their line out a little bit as well, especially early on. We remember against South Africa in the Rugby World Cup, we lost our first 5 lineouts or something, and everybody was scratching their heads saying, "How are we going to win this game?" And then all of a sudden, they went to a 5-man lineout, took out one of the lifting options for the opposition, and you could see that as being an option for Ireland early on in this game, just to settle them down, for Dan Sheehan to get a couple of nice easy throws. Peter O'Mahony looks like he's probably going to start and captain the team. He's obviously a brilliant line-out operator, as is Tag Byrne. You've Ryan Baird on the bench. He's going to come on and make an impact as well. The scrum situation, Donny, I know there was a lot of plaudits after the Wales game, because of the dominance that Ireland seemed to get in the scrum. But again, after the match, there was a lot of critics saying that Porter was born in straight away. As soon as they engaged and the ball was fed, he was coming in at an angle. I do think that did happen on a couple of occasions, but when you've got the front foot and you've got the dominance and the opposite, nobody always says about the opposition boring in or not being able to take the pressure. It's just always about Andrew Porter these days. Just because he has been highlighted so often over the last couple of seasons. Uh, and I just feel that all Ireland need to do is hold their own in the scrum. They don't need to try and go after penalties on their own ball. Just nice solid scrum, get the ball to Keelan Doris's feet and play off it. I really don't think they have to go after that area. Will England go after them? Quite possibly, but I'm not sure they have the artillery in their team to really do that. Ellis Genge, is he an unbelievable scrummager? Probably not. Good ball carrier, great around the pitch. Dan Cole, he's still going. Jamie George in the middle of that too is obviously a big hefty bloke who can scrum as well. But yeah, Ireland haven't been shoved around, have they, for a long time? A couple of dodgy decisions during the Rugby World Cup, quite possibly, but the scrum, who knows what way it'll go because it seems like it's refereed differently week in and week out. And I think painting a good picture very, very early on in the match will set the tone for the rest of the game. Yeah, 6 points in the handicap for this game. The Welsh squad, obviously, Gatland loves to announce that early. Daffy Jenkins, the captain, he's in the back row. Will Rowlands and Adam Beard are in the second row. So he's obviously trying to go toe to toe with the bigger French pack that are probably going to try and stick it up the jumper. But we've thought that about the French team over the last few weeks. Their lineout has been shocking, truly shocking. It looks like they're all at sea and they don't know what they're doing. The timing is off. Movaka's throw is off. Um, they're throwing to the tail when they can't even win a ball at the front. Just because they feel like they're running out of options. I know I've said this many times on the pod and on with you, Donny, is like throw jump, like throw the ball, get up in the air. It's the easiest way to win lineout ball, but so many teams try and overcomplicate it, and that's what I think France have to do. Full stop. With not just their lineout, their whole game, absolutely everything. Get around the corner, use your huge men. Tuolangi, Willemse might be back again after his ban. Not sure if Tolofua is going to be in, but there's another couple of guys that have huge physicality. You've got to get back to the basics. And then the other stuff will come. Those 50-50 passes will stick. Damien Penaud has been so hot and cold this Six Nations. You think he's back and he's brilliant, and the next thing he's still something daft and costs him a lot of yardage or a turnover on numerous occasions. So it just feels like France are in a hole. Like it does. It feels like France are in a hole, and for some reason, I think this Welsh side almost deserve a victory in this Six Nations. Like the way that they've played, the squad that they've picked, and Gatland having a massive set of balls on them to get rid of some of the old guard. It just feels like in the Principality Stadium, lots of penalties given away. Get after their line out. Just feel that Wales +6 in the handicap isn't a bad bet, and yeah, we'll see. Wait and see what French team turns up. Because if they don't turn up, they will get turned over this week, just like they should have got turned over against Italy 2 weeks ago. You would imagine. I think it's 12 points in the handicap again. In Scotland obviously being the favourites, and I think Scotland haven't lost Italy since 2012. A lot of games on the bounce, 8 consecutive Six Nation games on the bounce. But again, reading through some information over the last couple of days, it's really interesting to see that Italy have scored 43%, 46% of their points in the final 20 minutes of games so far in the Six Nations. And England have conceded 43 points or 43% of their points in the final 20
Okay.
minutes of the game.
Yeah.
So the last quarter could be really, really tight. If Italy can keep it tight for 60 minutes, the way that they've shown over the last number of weeks that they are finishing strong, a lot stronger. Usually they would be blowing out the gate, and that would be the other way around, where Italy would concede a shed load of points in the final 20 minutes. But they're the ones that are putting it up to the opposition. So yeah, again, I just feel that this Italy side can turn up against Scotland, and they have a couple of game breakers like Montijuani and Garbisi was brilliant against France last week. A couple of their pack really turned up. They destroyed the French scrum in their own backyard, maybe 3 or 4 times during the game. Like if they can just keep that going and build on the confidence, I know it might have been, a slap in the face with the ball ricocheting off the post, and ultimately it probably felt like a loss, Diddley against France. Um, but the confidence that they can take out of that game, the attitude that they showed to come back into it, albeit with the red card, I think will stand them well against Scotland. And if Scotland pitch up and play this fast, fluid game that we all hope to see, then of course I think Scotland will edge it. But if Italy can make it a nitty gritty contest, get absolutely wired into them, get Scotland to give away a couple of cheap penalties, go after their set piece, and be hugely physical with the home support, the passionate Italian fans that they have, I'm going to go for Italy plus 12 in the handicap.